This is the 5th part of our Noble Gold's National Debt Series, and we're getting to the juicy part. This time we'll talk about how the government pays for its debts. It's simple. They tax us. They use taxes to provide government services and pay some of our debt. The question is, how bad are we in debt? The easiest way to compute it is by per capita. Per capita is a Latin term that means per head. When the government says debt is $100,000 per capita, it means each tax-paying American is $100,000 in debt. If you're one of those who likes to keep their debt clean, sorry, you're in debt. If you think that you'll never directly feel the effects of our debts, think again. There are 5 outstanding debts that can directly affect you. Number 1, the deeper we get into debt, the more government would likely default on their loans. Therefore, the Treasury Department will still have to raise the yield on newly issued Treasury securities to attract new investors. Higher interest rates would mean the taxes the government collects would go into paying those that are liquidating their Treasury rather than going to government services. If the rate offered on Treasury securities increases, corporations operating in America will be viewed as riskier. This will force the government to increase the yield on newly issued bonds. That will then result in companies being forced to raise the price of their products and services to meet the increased cost of their debt service obligation. Eventually, people have to pay more for goods and services, so that will affect you. This results in inflation. Number 3, remember that the cost of money in the mortgage lending market is directly tied to the short-term interest rate set by the Federal Reserve and the yield offered on Treasury securities. If the yield offered on Treasury securities increases, the cost of borrowing money to purchase a home will also increase. Many buyers will then not meet the minimum qualifications since they will have to pay more of their money to cover the interest expense on the loan they receive. The value of homes will plunge, and that's very bad for the net worth of all the homeowners. Number 4, we could lose our social, economic, and political power. Needless to say, not paying our debts is not an option. The government would rather resort to inflation than not pay the debt, but as we can all see, our debt is not getting any better. Now that we understand how the government pays for its debts, let's look at the major players in this crazy financial cycle and why they're tasked to bury our debt as far below as they can and hopefully get us to forget about it.